Hello and welcome to Rathods IAS Academy. Today in this session, we are going to see very important articles that appeared in our today's newspaper. So let's get started. First, I'll let you know important topics of the day. And later on, we are going to see each and every topic from prelims and as well as mains point of view. And at last, I'm going to give you prelims questions also so that you'll get an idea like how questions can be asked. Okay, now let us see the first topic. It is about US-Iran reach deal to end war. Reopen Strait of Hormuz. This article is talking about Iran and US relations and it is talking about Strait of Hormuz. So finally you know that we are going to have certain end to this West Asian conflict through this deal. But this deal is temporary in nature. So this article is important from your GS paper to under international relations. And next topic is India and Slovakia expand ties with a series of memorandum of understanding from defense to education. So here India is improving its relations with Slovakia. So here you have to know where exactly the Slovakia is located and you have to see what are the agreements made between India and Slovakia. And because of these agreements, how it is going to impact India. And this topic is important from GS paper 2 under international relations. And next topic is India's goods exports hit record high of $45.2 billion in month of May. But the problem is there is increasing of trade deficit. And this article is important from GS paper 3 under economy. And next topic is older persons are increasingly bearing the brunt of climate change. Find study. So this article is talking about climate change and its impact on elderly people. And this is important from environment and ecology from GS paper 3. And next topic is heat waves, ozone rise, cardiac death risk, says one study. One study said that because of increased heat waves and increased ozone concentration at the troposphere, that leads to increased health related concerns, especially heart failure. So this article is important from GS paper 3 under environment and ecology. And next topic is peace with peace. Preventive detentions are misused by the state in the name of order. So you'll be studying about this preventive detention in polity. So here you have to say about what exactly is that preventive detention and you have to see why it is misused and what are the Supreme Court judgments related to that preventive detention. And this is important from your polity. Okay, see this article is, read out the title. US-Iran reach deal to end war. Reopen strait. What does this article mean? What are the keywords? The first one is it is talking about a deal between whom US and Iran. And this one is they want to reopen strait. Strait is nothing but Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so to understand this article, you need to know certain background. So if you see background, if you go back to before 3 months, what happened? On one side we have Israel and this Israel is supported by US. They attacked Iran. Okay, so US and Israel on one side attacked Iran. In that attacks, main leader of Iran died. Why US and Israel attacked Iran? What are the reasons? Any idea? Yes, Iran is going for nuclear enrichment. So if they are going for nuclear enrichment, they can prepare nuclear bombs. So here US wants to control that nuclear enrichment or nuclear program of Iran. For that reason, yes, so they attacked. Okay, before this attack itself, in 2015, to control this nuclear enrichment program of Iran, different countries came up with Iran's nuclear deal. Under that deal, they are controlling this nuclear enrichment of Iran. But what happened? After Trump came into power, you know this Donald Trump, right? So after this Donald Trump came into power for the first time, he came out of this Iran's nuclear deal. And now, finally, US along with Israel, they attacked Iran and they killed main leader of Iran. So will this Iran be silent? No, it started retaliating. And in this retaliation, Iran started attacking Israel on one side, and even whatever the military bases of US were there in this West Asia. So Iran is targeting them. And not only that, there is one important route called the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so here Iran is sharing boundary with that Strait of Hormuz. So what this Iran did is, Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz. And whatever the oil which is produced in this West Asia, it will go through that route of Strait of Hormuz. So because of that closure, what happened? There is no proper movement of crude oil through this Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so it had been 3 months. So as you all know that we need oil. Every country wants oil for ensuring of energy security. So here what is happening because of this closure of Strait of Hormuz, and if the ships are going in that Strait of Hormuz also, they are using drones and missiles and they are attacking that ships. Yes. So because of this, the movement of crude oil become very difficult. And because of that, what happened? International price of crude oil had been increased. So now here they want to come up with a deal and they want to again reopen the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, so that is about this background, and that is what this present title is saying about. Iran, US reach a deal and they want to end war in this West Asia, and again they want to reopen this Strait of Hormuz. So that is the present title. And now what you have to know? You have to know about what are the provisions in this deal, what exactly they talked about. And next, from international relations, always we'll think from what will be the impact on India. So because of this deal, how it is going to benefit India, we have to think from that point of view. So if UPSC wants to give a question, it can give a question on geography, especially Strait of Hormuz. In 2026 prelims paper, they gave a question on the Strait of Hormuz. And next time also they may give, because it is important. And next, in international relations, they may ask you about mains-based question. So how UPSC can give a mains-based question? And one more thing here is, this deal is brokered by Pakistan. Pakistan recently brokered deal between Iran and US. In the light of this statement, what are the provisions of the deal and how does it impact India? Okay, in international relations, obviously they will be asking question, a sub question on what will be the impact on India, right? So in that way, you may get a mains based question from this area. You have to think from that lines. Now let us see what is this article. US and Iran have agreed a peace deal now, and it is a potential end to over 3 months of military conflict in Middle East. From last 3 months, the issues are going on in this West Asian countries, and now it is going to be an end to the war in this Middle East countries, and it is a peace deal. Who mediated this? Pakistan. Pakistan mediated this deal between US and as well as Iran. Okay, now let us see what are the provisions of this deal. The first and foremost here is, they have to end all military operations. Okay, whatever the attacks which are doing on this US side and what are the attacks are doing from this Iran side, they have to stop this. That is the first provision under this peace deal. And next one here is, US has to lift naval blockade of Iran ports. So whatever the blockade which imposed by US on this Iran ports, it has to be removed. That is the second point. And third point here is opening of Strait of Hormuz. If they open the Strait of Hormuz, what happened? The trade and commerce will go in a normal pace. That is the third one. And next one here is, there should be toll-free basis for international shipping. Even Iran is collecting toll. You know this toll, right? Even if you are moving on this ORR, at certain areas, there will be toll plaza and you have to pay the toll. That is the amount that you have to pay for using of that service. In the same way, Iran is also collecting toll at this Strait of Hormuz for international shipping. So in that deal, they said that they should not collect any toll. They have to ensure free movement of ships in the Strait of Hormuz. Okay, and next one here is this ceasefire will be for 60-day period, and after the 60-day period, they will come with a permanent ceasefire deal between US and Iran. So these are the provisions of this present deal. It is for 60-day period. That means around 2 months. Clear? Okay, now what is the significance, guys? What India is going to get? First one is movement of ships will be happen proper way. And next, can we get oil on time? Yes. Then what about international oil price will be reduced or increased? Reduced. Okay, then what about inflation in our country? Reduced or increased? Increased. What about import bill? We are buying now, we will buy oil now at a low price compared to that of earlier. That means now we will be paying less amount. That means import bill will be reduced. Okay, in that way you have to connect, guys. The first one here is reopening of Strait of Hormuz can happen. And the importance of the Strait of Hormuz is around 20% of world's crude oil will be moving from this area. Okay, because of this, it is a cause of concern if it is closed. Okay, now what happens? We can ensure world's crude oil will be moving from that strait. That is the first important point. So whenever the movement of oil is happening means obviously energy security of countries can be restored. And next one here is we can end active hostilities. That means whatever the military operations like using of drones, missiles against one another will be obviously reduced in West Asia, so that we can save lives of civilians. Okay, and next one here is if the military operations will be going on means obviously what happen? Will people come out for doing economic activities? For sure, no. There will be stall in the economic activities. So because of this reducing or permanent halt of military operations, what happen? People will come out for what? Doing of work in countries, in construction sites or in oil fields, whatever it may be. Then what happen? They will get some amount of money as salary and they will send back to India. Why? Because most of our migrants are going to this West Asia to work. So again, we will get our remittances back, right? And next one here is we can also export our goods to West Asian countries. So recently, I think 2 months ago or 1 month ago, we discussed one article. Especially Kashmiri shawls are not going to West Asia. Yes, especially Islam people, they will be using certain mats for their prayers, namaz, right? So those are mainly made in Kashmir, and from Kashmir they will export to this West Asian countries. So if you are following current affairs of last 2 to 3 months, you will be knowing that yes, the stall of exports of that shawl happened. And now if that situation is normalized means obviously we can increase our exports to West Asia. Okay, in that way you have to connect everything, guys. Okay, and the next one here is rapid economic relief can happen. And next, one more impact here is we can understand that yes, regional mediation is very important to resolve this kind of conflicts, diplomacy, dialogues. So these are the some important things that you have to remember, guys. Okay, see this article, read out the title. India, Slovakia expand ties with a series of MOUs from defense to education. Read out the title and tell me the keyword. It is talking about India-Slovakia relations. Yes. And this one is it is talking about MOU. What is the meaning of MOU? Memorandum of Understanding. It is nothing but simply an agreement. Okay, India signed agreement with Slovakia regarding what? From defense to education. In different sectors, we signed agreement with Slovakia. And my first question to you guys, where is Slovakia located? Have you heard this name? Or are you hearing this name for the first time? First time? Ah, very good. Where is Slovakia located? In which continent? It is in Europe. Okay, so first you have to see Europe map. and you have to locate where is Slovakia. And whenever you are seeing any country in map, you have to see with which countries it is sharing border with. Okay. I think on Slovakia, UPSC gave question 2023 UPSC prelims, if I am not wrong. At that time, they asked question this way: consider the following countries. They gave 4 to 5 countries, and they asked which of the above countries are sharing boundary with Ukraine. In that one option they gave here is Slovakia. Okay, so now let us see first of all map. This is Europe part. I just pick up a random image from the Google. So just I want to show you. So this is Europe map, and here the red color. Can you see? So this country is Slovakia. So now tell me guys, which countries are sharing boundary with Slovakia? Here we have Ukraine. Russia-Ukraine conflict is in news. So because of this, UPSC asked question on countries sharing boundary with Ukraine. Is Slovakia sharing border? Because of that, Slovakia is there, one of the country given in that question. Okay, in that way you have to see exact location of that countries also. Okay, if you see country sharing boundary with Slovakia, here we have Ukraine, here we have Poland, Czech Republic, Austria, Hungary. So these are the 5 countries which are sharing boundary with Slovakia. Okay, Slovakia is part of Europe. Don't forget this guys. Okay, now let us see why it is in news. India, Slovakia, they elevated their bilateral partnership. That means we are signing lots of agreements between India and Slovakia, and we want to improve relations between India and Slovakia. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi is the first Prime Minister who visited Slovakia since 1993. Okay, because of this, it becomes very important. So now let us see what are the agreements they signed. The first one is defense agreements. In this defense agreements, what we'll do? We'll talk about technology transfer. We know about different defense equipments we need. We need aircrafts, we need fighter jets, we need missiles, we need torpedoes, we need different ships. You know that, right? So regarding that development of defense equipments, we need to get advanced technology. If you are signing this kind of agreements with other countries, we can expect technology transfer. So in that agreement, they said about joint development of equipment, joint production of equipment, and even we are focusing on defense industry collaboration between India and Slovakia. That is the first agreement. And one is they also signed MOU on AI and digital public infrastructure to improve AI in different arenas. And this one is we also signed MOU on quantum communication and critical infrastructure, like how we have to face the cyber security threats. Now you know digital arrest are increasing in our country. What is digital arrest is about? Someone will call you on online, either video call or normal call, and they'll say that I am calling from CBI, or what they'll say CBI or CID, or I am calling from intelligence department or IB, and you have to pay this much amount, there is case on you. So like that they will make you afraid, and they will try to transfer money from your account to their account on spot, and they will target who? Elderly people and vulnerable sections, those who are rich, right? So because of that kind of increased threats in our country, obviously we need to have advanced technology to counter it. So in this MOU, we are focusing on quantum communication and critical infrastructure production like cyber security, etc. And next one is we also signed memorandum of understanding related to cooperation in higher education. So especially one important and major problem in our education is outdated education, and we are not focusing on updates. And even today also we are reading textbooks which are not updated last 5 years. But in this 5 years, lots of changes in technology happen. So because of that, students are not having proper skills which is required for the industries. So because of that, what is happening? There is rising of unemployment in our country. So if you are having collaboration related to higher education with other countries, we can understand what exactly the skills required by the students now, so that what happened, we can increase employment rate in our country. So for that reason, there is one agreement signed between IIT Delhi and Slovak Technical University, so that they will also take Indian students for research projects in Slovakia. And even the Slovakian university can provide scholarship for our Indian students for such kind of projects. And next one here is, we also signed memorandum of understanding on labor migration. Yes, actually we need movement of people from one country to another country. For example, if you're doing any joint project, obviously people from Slovakia has to come to India, or people from India has to go to Slovakia. So if we're not talking about movement of people, can it happen? Can we ensure joint projects are completed on time? No, for that reason, for sure, the movement of people and migration of people is required. So on that also they talked. And this one is, they also focused on social security agreement for welfare of working professionals. So you know about social security, right? So even today also, many people from India, they will be working on online in US companies like that. So now because of this agreement, now Indians can work in Slovakian companies. So who are working in Slovakian companies, that company has to provide social security. What is social security? For example, maternity insurance, paid leaves. Okay, so like that. And next one is, we are also focusing on improving of scientific research between India and Slovakia. So these are the different agreements signed between India and Slovakia. Now, so now you guys tell me, what is significance for India because of this agreement? And even we are also focusing on boosting of tourism also. Now tell me guys, what is advantage for India? See one by one and tell me. Because of this defense cooperation, can we increase our technology in defense? If you are increasing in technology, are we ready to fight at any time against China and Pakistan? Yes, that is a one important significance. And see this next one, AI, DPI and quantum communication. So because of this technology, we can protect our people from cyber security threats. Yes, and we can integrate AI in governance so that we can make efficient public service delivery process. Yes, and next see here, higher education. Can we improve skills of students of India? If we are improving the skills, obviously employment rate will be increased or reduced. When employment rate is increased, overall GDP contribution increased or decreased? Increased. And next one is social security. We can improve the quality of life of people who are working in even Slovakian companies. And tourism, if we are boosting tourism in India, what happened? Can we create some economic activities, local guides at local level? Can we create some shops, restaurants, etc.? And whenever these tourists come to India, will they spend their foreign currency in India or not? So we can get foreign currency so that we can maintain forex reserves also. So that what happened? Local economy boost can happen in that area. Obviously, scientific research, you know. Okay, so that is the thing, guys. And one more important point you have to remember is, Slovakia is an European nation. So Slovakia serves as a gateway to European Union markets, and we can increase our trade between India and European Union through this Slovakia. That is one more point you have to see, guys. Okay, so these are the points that you have to remember and see this article. India's goods exports hit record high of $45.2 billion in May. Trade deficit widens. What are the keywords here? Please tell me. First one is talking about export of goods of our country. You know, exports and imports, right? No doubt between that. Okay, next keyword is trade deficit. Okay, whenever we are talking about trade, we will be having two components. First one is imports. Second one is exports. Imports and exports are two components. Imports means nothing but, I'll draw India map. Something we are getting from other countries is called as imports. And from our country, if we are sending to other countries, they are called as exports. They are going outside. The coming in is imports, going out is exports. Right. Okay. If you want to ensure good trade of a country, what is required? Exports. Good exports is required. So this article is saying that yes, we increased our exports in month of May. In month of May, we increased our exports. That is a good news. But the problem is, despite of increase of exports, we are facing a problem called as trade deficit. Okay, again in trade, you will come across two keywords. You have to know that. First one is trade deficit. Second one is trade surplus. Okay, surplus means more and surplus is a positive term. Why is it a positive term? In this trade surplus, countries' exports will be more compared to that of imports. Exports more means we are sending more goods from our country to other country, but we are importing, we are getting less. So that what happened? We will be having trade surplus. It is a positive connotation. But if you see this trade deficit, it is nothing but imports will be more compared to that of exports. If imports more means we have to pay more rather than you are getting from other countries. Okay, so it is a negative term. So normally India has trade deficit only. We will not have trade surplus. The reason I will tell. Why there is trade surplus for our country, say trade deficit for our country is, first one is what all things we will import. We will import costly things and we will export cheap goods. That is the reason always we will be having imbalance between imports and exports. Okay, what all things that we will import? Any idea? First one is crude oil. Very, very important. We will import tons, million tons of crude oil every day. And we have to pay more. You know about crude oil prices, it is uncertain. One day it will be low, one day it will be high. And because of West Asian crisis, doubling of crude oil prices happened in our country and we have to pay double price now. If you want to buy, we have to, right? So first one is crude oil. Second one is always women love gold. Gold is cheap or costly? Just 10 grams of gold. What is the price now in the market? Only 1 lakh. 1 lakh 45. I think recently the decrease of price of gold happened in India. So it will be around 1 lakh 50,000 just for 10 grams. Imagine only 10 grams. 1 lakh 60. Not only gold but even we love diamonds. Diamonds are very costly compared to that of gold. Okay, gold and diamonds we are importing. And next one, we are importing luxury cars. We don't want normal brands of cars. We want Rolls Royce. We want BMW, Benz, Audi, Porsche. Okay, whatever it may be. So we are importing foreign cars. Foreign cars comes under luxury goods, right? Okay, next, what we are importing? Watches is like less. And even oil. This oil is edible oil. I am talking about edible oil. Especially sunflower oil we'll get from Russia and Ukraine. Without oil, can we cook food? No. And even we'll import palm oil from Indonesia. Especially during festival time. We had good demand for this palm oil because of sweets, snacks we'll do, right? So these are the major imported products of our country. Apart from this, we have a big list also. But these are like costly and they are like increasing our import bill. And what we all exporting? We are exporting agricultural goods. What is the kg rice cost? 60. It is less than that. We have quality and we have different varieties of rice, no? So based on that, the price will be there. And next one is we are exporting what? Fruits. Next, spices, agricultural products mostly. And next one is textile and petroleum products. We'll import this crude oil and we will finalize or we will recycle them and we will send petroleum products to other countries. And next one, any idea? Electronic goods, seafood like fishes, because India is having a very coastline. So if you compare this importing of crude oil and gold, what are the price what we are sending? Less or like same cost? Obviously less, no? So because of this, what is happening here? Import bill is increasing rather than what we are getting from other countries. So we are having this condition of trade deficit. Clear? So that is the thing, guys, which mainly said in this article also. So this article is saying that in the month of May, there is increased exports of our goods. But what happened on another side? Import bill increased. What is the major reason? Because of crude oil price increase. Okay. So that is the thing which mainly said here. Okay, now let us see here clearly. According to Commerce Ministry data released, India's merchandise trade showed record export performance. There is a very high exports of our goods to other countries. But the problem is, on another side, because of increased international price of crude oil. So normally international price of crude oil is like $80 per barrel. But now that increased to more than $125 per barrel. Okay, you know this barrel means tank, drum. Okay, so normally one drum cost is $80, but now it increased to more than $125. That is the reason why there is increased import bill. Okay, now they gave the data, but no need of remembering this data. Just for your knowledge, I added this here. Exports increased by $45.2 billion, and imports is see here $73.41 billion. Is that more or less? We are exporting only the goods cost of worth of $45.2 billion, but we are getting in the goods of $73.41 billion. What is the difference? What is the trade deficit here? 73 minus 45. I am very bad at maths. Tell me what is the 73 minus 45? 28. That means we are in the deficit of $28 billion. Are you understanding? This is the meaning of trade deficit. Okay, export growth increased by 18%. Import growth increased by 20%. Okay, so because of this, we are facing trade deficit. And now you guys tell me what is the positive impact and what is the negative impact on our economy. On one side, exports increased. That is a good sign. On another side, imports increased. That is a bad sign. Now tell me what is the positive impact on our economy and what is the negative impact. We have to see both the sides of the coin. Tell me, guys. First one important good news is exports increased. Export momentum we can see. And there is a raised performance of different sectors, especially petrochemical sector and electronic sector is doing good in our country, so that the exports from these two areas had been increased. And next one here is obviously because of this deal between US and Iran. Again, we are going to see some recovery in this West Asian countries and we can export more to these countries. And this one here is whenever exports are increased means what it means. Yes, Indian goods are reaching the standards of international level. Then only people will be buying our goods. If quality is not good, can we sell them? That means there is increased export competitiveness of Indian goods. That is also a good sign. Okay. And now what are the negative impacts? Trade deficit is widening day by day. And what are the amount we have to pay to the countries from which we are getting goods is high. So whenever we want to pay to our imports, will we pay in rupees? Will they accept rupees? What they'll do by taking rupees? So they want dollars. So what happens? Dollars from our country will be going to another country. Then what about the dollars in India? Decreases or increases? Decreases. If dollars are decreasing in India, demand for this dollar increase or decreases? Increase. If dollar demand is increasing, then what about rupee value? Decreases. That means again that will leads to depreciation of Indian rupee. Again you have to connect in this way. Okay. And this one is still India is an import dependent country, and the major problem here is oil price volatility in market. There is no stable price of oil we are maintaining. Okay, and what happens if there is depreciation of Indian rupee? Value of Indian rupee will be falling down, and we have to give more rupees to buy the product. That means inflation can happen in our country. So these are the negative impacts. Are you understanding? Okay, if UPSC wants to give a question on this, UPSC can give a mains based question. What are the reasons for rising of exports in our country? And what challenges we are facing? Challenges means you have to write about trade deficit. You have to write about what are the what exactly led to increased exports. Now tell me guys, why exports of our country had been increased? What do you think? Which scheme led to increased exports to other countries? We have one scheme called as PLI. What is this PLI? Production Linked Incentive Scheme. Through that scheme, we are increasing production in our country. If we are increasing production, obviously we will export more. And not only that, our government is reaching different countries and we are making trade deals with other countries. So because of that, Indian goods are reaching international markets. Okay, and even we are getting certification for different products. If you are getting certification, obviously we will meet the standards of different countries and our goods will become competitive to other country goods in international markets. Okay, so in that way you have to think, guys. Okay, see this next article. Title says older persons are increasingly bearing the brunt of climate change, says study. So recently one study says climate change is happening. So examples of climate change, what do you know? Increasing of temperature, yes. Uncertainty in rainfall, in some areas floods, in some areas droughts, in some areas cold waves, especially in this winter. Telangana also faced cold wave in Hyderabad, right? Cold wave, heat waves, droughts, and even forest fires are happening at a very faster rate, and even melting of glaciers are happening, right? Increasing of sea level. So because of all these problems, who will be more vulnerable? Obviously, older people will be more vulnerable. Elderly people and children. That is the thing which mainly said by the study. Older people are increasingly vulnerable for this climate change. Okay, now let us see what are the factors that is responsible for vulnerability of this elderly people. First one is psychological factors. What happens whenever the age is increasing? If the older people are 65 plus years, can they tolerate to the increased heat? For sure, no. Especially more older people will die in summer season. I don't know whether you have observed it or not, because they cannot tolerate excess heat. There is reduced heat tolerance. Why they cannot tolerate heat? Any idea? Why they will not tolerate? What about their fat content and what about their muscle content? Have you seen normally if the people are like very old, you can see only they will be having bones and skin. If you pull that skin, that will come like this. Have you did this experiment? No. Didn't you played with your great grandparents in your family? I did that. So I used to snatch their skin and I used to pull like this. What is this? I used to be like that kind of person who do experiments on people. Okay, so here there is reduced tolerance. Why? Because they don't have like fat content, and even proper muscle content in their body. So because of this, they cannot tolerate extreme heat. And this one is their immune system is like compromised. They have very weak immune system. And whenever the age is increasing, obviously, they will face different problems like hypertension, diabetes mellitus, different diseases. So because of that also, they cannot tolerate. And next one here is they will have reduced mobility. Like normal, if there is any flood or if there is any storm, so will they come like us? Will they walk or will they run like us? No. So because of that, they will be more vulnerable. And next one is we have socio-economic factors. What are those socio-economic factors? These old people, they do not have proper finance, especially financial resources they don't have, so that they cannot afford cooling systems like ACs, coolers or fans like what we do. And next one is there is social isolation. So elderly people, they do not have proper support from their family members. Hey Musklada, go there, go here. So like that, we will not care about them much. And next one is they do not have proper housing also with proper ventilation, proper air cooling systems, and even they don't have proper information. Like they won't use smartphones like us. They won't follow regular updates in WhatsApp, Insta. Yes, we do people will follow like updates timely, even minute by minute updates will follow. But Papam, they don't have that. So because of that, they don't know like what will be the temperature, how they have to follow, what are the do's and don'ts, etc. They are like backward compared to the present generation. So these are the reasons. They know more than us, but technology they don't know. And this one is especially digital divide is there in rural areas and urban areas. Especially in rural areas, they don't. Next one is environmental exposure factors, like urban heat islands, limited adaptation capabilities. So here, based on the place you are living also, they are like having digital divide. So different factors are leading to this increased vulnerability for this older or elderly people in our areas. Okay, now if UPSC wants to give a question, they may ask you like why? Because these people are also part of our society. In society and social justice, you will have this topic that is vulnerable sections of people. There you will be studying about elderly people, children, widows, SC and ST. So this article is talking about completely related to elderly people. So it may ask like, what are the challenges faced by elderly people in our society, and suggest some measures, or what are the government initiatives which is focusing on protection of elderly people in our country. So like that, UPSC can ask you a mains based question, and you have to know about especially challenges faced by elderly people and what government schemes. Is government taking any steps to protect elderly people? Any idea? Are these elderly people getting pension or not? Next. Yes, medical camps. Do you know about this Ayushman Bharat scheme? Above 70 years, whatever the socio-economic status is, they are going to get insurance under this Ayushman Bharat. Any other schemes? Think. So you have to note down the initiatives of government related to elderly people, guys. And you may expect question on this from society. And see this article, guys. Heat waves, ozone rise, cardiac deaths risk, say study. So again, it is somewhat related to that, but here you have to focus on ozone. What is this ozone is about? Ozone layer, where it is located? Troposphere. Okay, if you see different layers of our atmosphere, let us consider this is as Earth's surface. Above this we have atmosphere. In that atmosphere of Earth, we have different layers. First layer is troposphere. Second layer is stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere and exosphere. Like that we have different layers around our Earth. This is our Earth. Around this Earth we have atmosphere, and atmosphere is divided into different layers. So normally this ozone will be present in this Okay, in the stratosphere it is present. What is the function of this ozone layer? Okay, from sun we will be getting insolation, and from that sun radiation we'll also get this UV, ultraviolet radiation also we can get from the sun. This ozone will be absorbing that radiation, right? If there is no ozone in the stratosphere, what will be the impact? This UV radiation will fall directly on the skin, that will cause a skin cancer. Okay, so this ozone is protecting us from this harmful ultraviolet radiation of sun. Okay, if this ozone is present, what is the formula of ozone? O3, clear? Ozone is nothing but O3. That means 3 oxygen atom will be there together. That is our ozone. So if this ozone layer is present in stratosphere, it is very good for humans. What if the same ozone is present at this layer, which is very much near to the surface of the earth, that is nothing but troposphere? It is a pollutant. Same ozone in stratosphere is useful. Same ozone in troposphere is a pollutant. So now this article is saying that there is increasing of ozone concentration in the lower levels. That is nothing but in troposphere, there is increased ozone concentration. So because of this, what is happening? There is increased heart attacks, and it is having impact on cardiac health of people. Are you understanding? So here what exactly you have to see is how ozone is related to heart diseases. Okay. If you see UPSC PYQs, many a times UPSC asked question related to ozone. So how they asked question is, in geography, related to these different layers they asked. Okay. Here we have different layers of atmosphere, and one layer is having its own speciality. For example, troposphere, where all weather phenomena can happen. In stratosphere, ozone is present, and in the stratosphere only aeroplanes will fly. And in this mesosphere, what happens? Meteor shower will happen. So like that, every layer is having its own speciality. So based on that speciality, UPSC asked PYQs. And next one is, as I said, this if this ozone is present in this troposphere, it is a pollutant. So here UPSC can ask you a question related to environment also, because pollutants will be studying in this environment, right? So consider the following, and they will give you 4 to 5, and they will ask you which of the above are pollutants. In that pollutants, we have primary pollutants and secondary pollutants. They may ask you like which are the primary pollutants and which are secondary pollutants. Okay, like that UPSC can ask you a prelims based question. Okay, now let us see how this ozone is causing cardiovascular effects. Ozone is nothing but O3. Normally what we will breathe in? O2, that is oxygen. Oxygen is very much required for the respiration of cells in our body. But ozone, what happens if you are breathing in ozone, that is O3, that will cause us inflammation. Do you know what is the meaning of inflammation? In Telugu, we will call it as vapochindi. Inflammation is nothing but irritation, redness, swelling. Okay, so if you are breathing in ozone into your body, in lungs, it will cause inflammation, and even it will damage your blood vessels. If your blood vessels is damaged, what happens? Obviously, it will be affecting the movement of blood in your body. That is related to cardiovascular system. So heart is a major organ in your cardiovascular system, which will pump the blood. Love the sound, you know, right? So heart will be getting affected. And this one is ozone generates reactive oxygen species. We are taking O3 into our lungs. It will break down into O2 plus O dot. So it is nothing but reactive oxygen. Valency of oxygen is 2, right? Chemistry in your intermediate. Okay, so this will be formed. It is a reactive oxygen. So what happens here is it will damage directly the cardiovascular cells, and that will lead to the formation of clots. Do you know these clots? Blood thickening, clots. Okay. So if blood clot is happen, what happen? Obviously it will be danger. And next one is obviously if you are taking in ozone more and more into your body, there will be less oxygen supply. So if less oxygen supply, the cells cannot function properly. And next one is obviously there is increased blood pressure, and even it will be having impact on your nervous system. So because of this, there will be increased heart attacks, there will be increased hypertension, like that cardiovascular related complications will be increased. Okay, now tell me guys, is that good? Is that good for people? No, that means government has to take some steps to control this, night. So now you guys tell me what can be the policy measures that you will suggest to government. If you are working under environment ministry, think that you are a cabinet secretary under environment ministry and the reports are coming like this, and now you have to take some efficient steps to control ozone. Now which kind of steps or measures will you suggest to environment ministry? Are you understanding my question? Tell me guys. If you see in mains, for sure they'll ask way forward or measures. Why? Because they are expecting you to provide some suggestions to government. Tell me guys, what suggestions will you give to government to control this ozone? Come on, think. You can do it. Online students, tell me in the comment box. First one is we have to reduce emissions of ozone. Especially this ozone is released from vehicles. So we have to ensure zero emission from vehicles. And next one is air quality standards we have to maintain. We have to go for checking of air quality. So how much amount of ozone is there? So whether this ozone is crossing the danger levels or whether we are maintaining in limits. So we need to focus on air quality standards. And next one is heat action plans we have to ensure, because heat waves also, if there is increase in temperature, even ozone concentration will be increased. That means indirectly we have to control heat also. And we have to ensure proper urban planning in urban areas so that we can maintain cool infrastructure in these urban areas, that will in turn leads to reduced ozone. Okay, see this article guys, peace with peace. This article is talking about preventive detention. So have you heard this word preventive detention? Preventive means we want to stop something to be happen. That is called as preventive. Detention means arresting someone. Yes. What is the meaning of preventive detention? Okay, to understand this, I will tell you clearly. You will come across this topic in your fundamental rights under Article 22. Recently, we discussed Article 23, 24. No? What is Article 23, 24? Child labor, human trafficking, right? Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty. Article 19 talks about freedom, right to freedom. So now we are going to see Article 22. Okay, there is a person who did some crime. Then police will arrest that person. No, normally in our society what happens, if there is a person who committed any crime or if he violated any law, police will come and police will arrest him. That is a normal scenario that we know. But there is a provision in our constitution that if he is a person who is trying to involve in any unlawful activity, now police got a doubt that he can do or he can blast a bomb or he can kill a person or he can create any war, or if this person is acting as a spy and giving information to enemy country. So like that, if police people got a doubt, before he commits anything, before he did any act, police can arrest him to prevent that to happen. Are you understanding? So normally after doing of a crime, he will be arrested. But in some cases, before doing any act, if police people get a doubt that he may do this thing, which are unlawful, which can violate the law, then he can be arrested. This is called as preventive detention. Okay, before doing anything wrong, if police people or law making authorities are getting any doubt that he will do that, then he will be arrested to prevent something to be done. Okay, for example, if there is a terrorist who came into India, he is planning to blast a bomb in some area like that. So before he blasted itself, police can come and arrest him as preventive detention. Okay, clear? So this article is saying that, read here clearly. Now you know about what is preventive detention. So preventive detentions are misused by the state in the name of order. What does that mean? So before that man committed some mistake or he violated the law, he is taken away and he is kept in the jail. And this is saying that preventive detentions are misused by the state. If there is any political party, if someone is doing any propaganda against that political party, under preventive detention law, they can be arrested or not. That is the meaning of this. So here, preventive detentions are misused by the state in the name of order. That means if any people who are doing any protest against government, they are arrested and they are kept under the jail under the name of preventive detention. So this article is saying that preventive detentions are misusing in our country. What is why they are misusing? In the name of just to provide law and order, just to maintain law and order. By this name, these people are getting arrested and keeping under the jail in the name of preventive detention. So because of this, what is happening? If you are arresting any person, keeping under the jail without any trail, then what happened? Is this Article 21, their life to personal liberty will be affected or not? And even we are taking away their right to freedom of movement. We are keeping under the jail. We are not allowing to move them. Article 19 is getting violated or not? And even what are the basic human rights for that person? Obviously, that will be violated. So that is this article, guys. Okay, now let us see this in detail. So what is the meaning of preventive detention? Preventive detention is nothing but we are arresting an individual before trial without any conviction, just based on one assumption that their release would not be in society's best interest. If they release them, there may be a law and order problem, there may be a protest, that person can kill someone, that person can blast a bomb. So because of this assumption, we are catching a person and we are keeping that person inside the jail. That is called as preventive detention. The purpose of this preventive detention is we have to prevent future misconduct. We assume that in future he may do something. To prevent that, we are bringing that person and we are keeping under jail. And next one is we want to protect individuals or the public from potential harm. He may do any harm to the society and he may disturb the social harmony. He may create law and order problem. So to prevent this, we are using this preventive detention, which comes under Article 22 of our Indian Constitution. So if you see what are the challenges here. Okay, so the problem here is under this preventive detention, what exactly the public order is not clearly mentioned. For example, it may define gunda, rowdy broadly. You know, have you heard this words gunda, rowdy? So he is harm to society, he will kill the people. They may create law and order problem. So what exactly the public order? It is not clearly defined under this preventive detention. That is the first important thing. And even in one famous Supreme Court some famous Supreme Court judgment says that S.K. Nazneen versus State of Telangana, Supreme Court held that preventive detention is unjustified. Just based on law and order situation, we cannot keep a person beside the bus. That is a Supreme Court judgment, that too very recent in 2023. So this article is saying that in the name of law and order, we should not use this preventive detention. There is the same thing said by Supreme Court. But now we are using that again and again. And next one is bypassing procedural safeguards. So actually what happened under this preventive detention, we can keep any person under bars without any regular trail. That means without filing a case, without taking that person to court, we are bypassing the regular mechanism. Because of that, what is happening here? It will be affecting Article 14. Article 14 talks about right to equality. And next one here is Article 21 talks about right to life and personal liberty. These two articles will be getting affected. And even in this A.K. Gopalan versus State of Madras case in 1950, court upheld preventive detention even without substantive judicial review, highlighting the absence of due process protection. Even in this case, also Supreme Court said that there is no proper due process of law will be there in this what is that? Preventive detention. And next one here is there is executive overreach. That means many a times the political parties which are in power, they are misusing this preventive detention. That is also one important thing. And next one here is there is lack of judicial review also. This is also one important problem related to this preventive detention. So all these cases and what exactly is this preventive detention, what are the challenges, why we came up with this preventive detention, everything will be dealt in your fundamental rights class after your union executive. Okay, so there you can see all these things. And what is the need? But why we need this preventive detention? The first one here is to ensure national security. For example, if we identify there is one terrorist who entered into India and we know that yes, he is going to plan a blast. If you're not arresting him, can we ensure the security of the people? No. For that reason, for sure, we have to arrest that kind of terrorist. No. So that is the first important need. We have to ensure safety of people and national security is the priority now. So for that reason, Government of India came up with this preventive detention law. And next one is rapid crisis response. If there is any protest, if there is any riots going on, if there is any genocide is going on, so government has to stop it, right? So for that reason, we can use this preventive detention. And next one is for economic stability. Like if there is any smuggling of goods or smuggling of drugs, smuggling of arms, trafficking of humans happening means we have to use this preventive detention to arrest that person who is involving in that. And next one is to ensure proper public order maintenance. Also, we can use this preventive detention. So, these are the necessary needs why we need this preventive detention. And they are asking about challenges. So, UPSC can ask you a question on this. Preventive detention violates Article 14 and Article 21 of Indian Constitution. So, in the light of the statement, so what is the need of preventive detention in India and explain challenges. So, like that UPSC can ask a question on preventive detention, and if you see PYQs also in your mains PYQ, there is a question on this preventive detention. Okay. Now, see these questions guys. First one is okay about Strait of Hormuz. Consider the following statements. UNCLOS provides for the right of transit passage through international straits. Next one is transit passage can be suspended by coastal states during emergencies. And next one is the Strait of Hormuz is generally considered as the strait used for international navigation. So if you don't know anything, try to see which statement is having highly possibility to be correct. So there you have to identify the moderate words. So here you can see can be used. You are saying that it is not complete, it is the only route to use. It can be used. Means it is a moderate statement. Always the moderate statements will be right. And here also they said it is generally considered as. Generally considered as. So it is also a moderate statements. So like that you have to identify the correct statements. Okay, I think this question is somewhat new. To explain this question, I have to tell about the concept of UNCLOS. Have you heard about this UNCLOS? Anyone? If you take on land, if we have land, we have clear-cut boundaries. Yes, we are having even fences also across India-Pakistan border, India-Bangladesh border, and we have defined borders on land. But what about water? Here we have Arabian Sea. Here we have Bay of Bengal. Do we have any clear-cut borders related to water? No. So related to international borders of water, we will use one convention called as UNCLOS. The full form is United Nations Convention of Law of Seas. It will tell about international border of a country in water. Because here we have Pakistan, here we have Iran. So what is the border of Iran? What is the border of Pakistan? What is the border of India? So that is defined under this UNCLOS. Okay, and here we have different criteria. Consider this is a coastal line of India. From here till 12 nautical miles, it is called as what? Any idea? I will draw like this. Okay, so this is the coast. This is the water area. So now we will be having high tides, low tides. Do you know this concept? During Amavasya, during Paurnami, so the level of water will be increased, and other time there will be decreasing of water. So based on that, we will draw a baseline. Baseline is nothing but if water is going at a low level, till at which level the water will go. That is called as a baseline. And inside this baseline, whatever the water is there, that is called as internal water. Like that we have different, like territorial water, contiguous zone and exclusive economic zone. So here we have to know about exclusive economic zone. So from your baseline till 200 nautical miles. Okay, distance in water is measured in nautical miles and this is PYQ. Okay, once they asked about this nautical mile. Okay, so from this baseline till 1200 nautical miles, we have this exclusive economic zone. That means till 200 nautical miles. So entirely this region is the part of this country. So that is said in this UNCLOS. Okay. And now what is happening in the Strait of Hormuz here? Here we have Iran. Here we have Oman. According to UNCLOS, it will talk about which ships can be moved. That is called as transit passage. Okay, are you understanding? So according to UNCLOS, it provides right of transit passage through international straits. It will tell like about what are the rules and regulations that has to be followed. Okay, it tells about exclusive economic zone. Till that it is your area. You can exploit the resources, you can catch the fish. If there are any minerals, you can take it out. Like that, it will be giving certain guidelines to the country. And apart from that, this water is very important for the movement of international ships. Especially, it will talk about so which ships can move in that straits. And next one is if that area is in conflict. For example, Iran is in conflict. So now this UNCLOS will also gives the power to the country in that exclusive economic zone. It will block certain movement of ships also. So the conflict is between Iran and US, right? So if Iran and US are in conflict, so Iran will have the power to stop the movement of US ships. And even Iran has the power to blast the ships of US in that area if they are moving. Because Iran also has to ensure its security of that country, right? So like that, here this transit passage can be suspended by coastal states during emergency. That means now why Iran closed the Strait of Hormuz? Because of this power given by UNCLOS only. UNCLOS says that if that country is in emergency, it can suspend the movement of ships. Because of that only Strait of Hormuz had been closed by Iran. Okay, so all these three statements are right. Okay, see this question guys. Consider the following statements regarding preventive detention in India. Preventive detention means detention after conviction by court. Before or after? Before. Okay. Next one. Article 22 of the Constitution contains provisions related to preventive detention. Yes, preventive detention aim to prevent a person from committing any prejudicial act in future. Yes. So here only this first statement is incorrect. So answer will be 2 and 3. Okay, like that you have to be thorough. So from tomorrow onwards, I will try to come up with new format of questions. I think you already habituated with this kind of questions, no? And now I will change the options and I will give you the options which is given in the recent 2026 paper from tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, that's all guys. By this I'm concluding. Thank you so much for watching, and if you like this class, please hit the like button and please do share this class to your friends. And if you have not yet been subscribed to our channel, please do subscribe guys. Thank you so much.